Hey, it's Mitch from Mobile Edge, and today we're going to go through the entire process of installing a remote car starter in a vehicle. We're going to start with the basic check-in procedure and go through everything all the way to the checkout procedure, everything in between. We're going to show you what we do and how we do it, what makes our way special, what makes our way the right way. So if you'd follow along with us, we'll get started. Alright, here we have our installation manager, Bob. He's doing the initial check-in on a 2007 Jeep Compass. What exactly are you looking for, Bob?
Just checking for existing problems, things that, making sure everything works in the car now, looking for things like check engine lights, stuff like that.
Okay, do you check for anything else specifically?
Any kind of interior damage, exterior damage, dents, scratches, rips in the seats, holes in the carpet, and just that everything in the car works now, parking lights, headlights, things like that. Yeah. So that, if we have any problems, we can call the customer and let them know that we found some existing problems before we get started.
All right, sounds good. Today's vehicles are very complicated. They have things in them like immobilizer ignition systems, they have pass lock, CAN bus systems, which are a computer network within the vehicle. In order to install a remote car starter in those vehicles, we have to interface with that. We have to be able to let our remote car starter talk with your vehicle. And that's done by the way of a blade module, which you just saw Bob slide into the bottom of the brain. It's a lot like a computer card. And once that's in the module and the module's plugged into the computer, we can then call up the specific car right on our PC. In this case, it's a 2007 Jeep Compass. Once that's all called up, the software will tell us what firmware needs to be downloaded in. We click on the firmware, it uploads it to our module. You'll see the module start to flash. It takes a few seconds to do that. Right now it's putting in all the information necessary to have our remote car starter talk with a 2007 Jeep Compass. Once that's done, Bob can print out some paperwork necessary to do the installation, and we take it from there, and we'll see you again in the next step. Well, basically here we have a completed harness. The remote starter is all loomed up and pretty much ready to go in the vehicle. Bob's making the last connection right now. The way we do things here, everything gets soldered. We don't use any crimp connectors or wire nuts or T-taps or anything like that. Some people might disagree. That's the way we've done it for 15 years, so it's worked for us so far. Don't see any reason to switch now. But essentially when Bob's done soldering that connection is stronger than the wire itself. So not a whole lot can go wrong. Cars are bumpy, they bounce around. I don't want to trust our remote starter installations to a T-tap or a crimp connection. But that's pretty much the next step in it, is getting everything loomed up, and there's the finished product. We'll move on now to installing it into the vehicle, and be back in a few minutes. Okay, Bob's disassembled the bottom of the dash. He's installed the brain of the remote starter up underneath the dash. It's kind of hard to see it from this angle, but he's routed all the wires to where they need to go down here in the kick panel. Also, there's some wires right over here near the ignition harness that need to be tied in. Of course, everything there is going to get soldered and taped and loomed properly. When we're all done, it should look pretty much like factory. And we'll be back. Okay, Bob just got finished installing the hood pin, which is an extremely important part of any remote starter installation. Basically, that little device there that you can see in the corner of the engine compartment, all it is a little plunger. You can press it down. When the hood comes down, it presses down and breaks a contact. When it comes up, it makes a contact. Basically, it's there to protect a mechanic or to protect yourself if you're doing any kind of maintenance on the car. You don't want somebody inside the house to press a button and while your hands are under the engine compartment for the motor to start, and bad things can happen. So in every single installation that we do, there's a hood pin installed. In some cases we put a mercury switch, which is just a variation on the same thing. but it's there to protect you, and it needs to be in every single installation. Okay, Bob's tied everything in. All the wires are tied in with the vehicle. You can see the kick panel harness over here all loomed back up to a factory appearance. Up here we have the ignition harness along with the CAN high and CAN low wires for the data bus and the immobilizer. That's all tied in properly and loomed back up. Panels are ready to be put back in. Right here is the actual remote starter itself with the blade module. What you see the red light flashing there, essentially that means that the remote starter is installed, everything is communicating properly, and it's ready to be programmed. That's the next step Bob's going to take, and once that's completed, he'll tuck the remote starter up underneath the dash, secure it properly, and the job will be done. We'll see you in a couple minutes with the completed project. Okay, well, Bob just finished the remote starter in the 2007 Compass. It's ready to be tested out. You want to try to fire it up, Bob? All good. Parking light should come on to verify that the car is running. Because this is a two-way remote starter, the actual information is displayed. I don't know how good it's going to come up on here, but the exhaust coming out the back is an indication that the car is running right now. The lock in the corner there is an indication that the car is currently locked. With this particular remote control, we can lock and unlock the doors, start and stop the vehicle. What else can we do with the with that remote?
Actually, because of the functions of the blade module, it'll actually tell you things like temperature inside the car, and if you happen to leave a door open and walk away from the car, it would actually tell you on the remote control that you left one of your doors open.
What about if you want to know how long the car has to run yet before it shuts off?
Just take a glance at the remote, and anytime it's running, there's a little timer here that counts down until it shuts off.
Okay. What about shutting it down? If you want to stop it now,
Same way you started. Press and hold this button, and it'll shut it down.
Report back to the remote control, let you know that it's turned off.
Shut off, and if you look at it, there's no more smoke, and the timer's gone.
Right. Well, very cool. That was a complete remote starter installation, done the right way. A two-way CompuStar 1 mile range remote car starter in a 2007 Compass.